Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure today to be able to speak about Bill C6. Like my colleague from London North Centre, I too proudly come from immigrant parents, and so immigration policy that creates clear paths to citizenship is very important to me. It's a bill that I believe will positively influence my riding of Davenport, where I have, blessedly, a very high number of immigrants that come from many different cultures, and that lends to the wonderful diversity not only of my riding, but of our city and indeed our country. This Liberal government is committed to a Canada that is both diverse and inclusive. Canadians know that our government recognizes that historically we are strong because of our diversity and not in spite of it. We also know that we have to get immigration policy right and create clear, compassionate, fair paths to citizenship if we are to have a healthy economy moving forward. The Prime Minister and the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenships have been clear from the onset. Flexibility and diversity is going to be crucial to our future as a country and indeed what we offer the world. We want to encourage that diversity and take steps to ensure that the path to citizenship is a flexible and fair one, but also one that encourages all Canadians to take pride in being Canadian. Mr. Speaker, speaking to an audience at the Canadian High Commission in London shortly after taking office, the Prime Minister eloquently stated that compassion, acceptance, and trust, diversity and inclusion, these are the things that have made Canada strong and free, not just in principle, but in practice. Those of us who benefit from the many blessings of Canada's diversity need to be strong and confident custodians of its character. It is a strong attachment to Canada and to those values of compassion, progress, opportunity, justice that we hold dear, and that lead citizens to be strong and confident custodians of our national character. Critics of the measures outlined in Bill C6 may say that the greater flexibility and that these changes bring will diminish an attachment to Canada and to our shared values as Canadians, creating so-called citizens of convenience. Madam Speaker, being Canadian is a privilege and an honour. Few of us would dispute that. But far from diminishing the value of Canadian citizenship, the measures in Bill C6 will in fact increase and foster a greater attachment to Canada. I think that what is even more important is that in introducing C6, there's a message that we, the Liberal government, are sending, and that is different than that of the former government. And that message is that we recognize that with the exception of our Indigenous community, everyone in Canada at some point was an immigrant to this great country of ours. And we value our immigrants. We feel lucky that there are so many people that want to create a home here in Canada, who want to contribute to Canada, and who want to do their part to create an even better Canada. Bill C6 will support the government's goal of making it easier for immigrants to build successful lives in Canada. The Citizenship Act will and has continued to have several measures that contribute to deepening attachment to Canada, deterring citizenship of convenience, ensuring program integrity, and combating fraud. All Canadians should be treated equally, regardless of whether they were born in Canada, naturalized, or hold citizenship in another country. As the Prime Minister has said, and is now quoted way too often, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. Madam Speaker, critics may also point to changes to the age range for language proficiency and citizenship knowledge testing as another way that attachment to Canada will be lessened. However, this government understands that for younger and older applicants, this is a barrier to citizenship. And indeed, Madam Speaker, in my riding of Davenport, for whatever reason, many residents have remained permanent residents for many, many years and decades, and have waited until they reached 55 to become a Canadian citizen. It could be that while most of them have worked most of their adult lives here in Canada and contributed to the Canadian economy and society, they're still not comfortable with their language level and lack the confidence to take the language test currently required to become a Canadian citizen. But no matter, Madam Speaker, because Bill C-6 brings the age range for language and knowledge requirements back to 18 to 54, and I applaud that, and I know that the residents in Davenport will also applaud these changes. The Liberal government believes in the importance of having adequate knowledge of one of Canada's official languages and understanding the responsibilities and privileges associated with being a citizen of this country. Adults aged 18 to 54 will still be required to provide evidence of their proficiency in English or French and to pass a citizenship test. These changes will not put newcomers at a disadvantage. Younger applicants will acquire knowledge of Canada and official language capability through their schooling, which is excellent, if I may say so myself, Madam Speaker, in my riding. Older adults applying for citizenship will find support to be knowledgeable about Canada and to speak its official languages through a wide variety of services offered across the country. This flexibility will help children, their parents, and grandparents achieve citizenship, an important step that will allow immigrants to gain a deeper sense of belonging to our society and to becoming more active citizens. An important way that we will accelerate attachment to Canada is by allowing time spent residing in Canada before becoming a permanent resident to count towards citizenship requirements. The Citizenship Act would be amended to allow each day within the 5 years preceding their application that a person was physically present as a temporary resident or protected person before becoming a permanent resident to be counted as a half day toward meeting the physical presence requirement for citizenship of up to a maximum 1 year. Moreover, every day that a person was physically present in Canada as a permanent resident will count as 1 day of physical presence for citizenship. So this means, Madam Speaker, that an applicant could accumulate up to 365 days as a temporary resident or a protected person. They could accumulate the remaining 730 days as a permanent resident to meet the 1,095 days of physical presence required to become a citizen. This acknowledges that post-secondary students who come to this country to study often find Canada a great place to stay and build their career. And indeed, Madam Speaker, there are many of these wonderful students in my riding of Davenport. They're extraordinary people, and it would be a blessing to have them want to apply to become a Canadian citizen. If they choose to stay in Canada, it is because they have developed an affection and attachment to this country, whether because of work, family, or opportunities. They have started to build their lives here, benefiting our communities and indeed our country as a whole. We should acknowledge, encourage, and be grateful of the choice they have made to make Canada their home. Their experience in Canada matters. Their decision to come to Canada, build a new life and home here, and contribute to building this great nation of ours matters as well. Madam Speaker, treating our immigrants well and creating viable, fair, compassionate paths to citizenship are matters of principle to this government. Canadians are proud of our country and our values. We welcome immigrants. We help them settle, integrate, and succeed. This is our history, our present, and our future. Whether newcomers arrive as refugees, family members, or ethnic immigrants, their contributions to Canada and those of the generations that follow will be positive. Our current and future economy depends on us getting our immigration policy right. C6 is just a first step of what I hope will be many more steps to come in reforming our immigration system. Madam Speaker, we encourage all immigrants to take the path of full membership in Canadian society. One of the strongest pillars for successful integration to Canadian life is achieving citizenship. With that in mind, Madam Speaker, I encourage all of my honourable colleagues to join me in supporting Bill C6. Thank you.